Welcome to the Waterboy and Equipment Manager podcast. My name is Saif Basaria.
My name is Shaban. Thank you,
And I'm
Kaiz.
Kaiz.
And my name is Nabeel Hassanali.
And boys, we're back. Another week, another episode.
Yeah.
Now, I have to start off by saying the NBA players, for the most part, have now reported to Orlando, or they will by the time you guys listen to this podcast and see it on YouTube, boys. We're available on YouTube now.
Finally.
Pretty
Yes.
cool, yeah. So before we get started, Kaiz, do you want to plug that Instagram for me real quick?
It's Waterboy and Equipment Manager.
Thank you. Shaban, can you plug that Twitter real quick?
It's at Waterboy Manager.
He really tried to get us with this one. I'm not amused.
I flipped it. Normally he does the...
You're not smart.
Look, you caught me slipping 2 weeks ago. It was my chance to get you back, and it didn't work. By the way, I'm glad it didn't work. Now,
You
I
almost
think
got him.
I think it's only fair to call the return to the NBA no longer the NBA restart. It is NBA Firefest edition.
Oh,
Y'all see them fucking meals?
bruh.
Honestly, you ever been on a field trip from school and they hand you that fucking brown paper bag?
Bro, it's probably that bad. Yeah, I'm waiting for the milk cartons to... Can you imagine LeBron with like just a random-ass milk carton in his hand?
What's he gonna do for Taco Tuesday?
Bro, he's going to have those
The
breakfast
Lunchables,
tacos that
bro.
you used to get at lunch, bro.
The Lunchables, come on.
Man. All right, so let's jump into our weekly segment, which is...
And if you don't know, now you know.
That's right, boys. If you don't know, now you know. And there's a lot to know. So, Shaban, hit us with that Cove update, boy.
So, 9 NBA players have tested positive for COVID-19 out of 344 tested between June 24th and 29th. It's still that 25 players overall have tested positive since June 23rd. It's still in that 7% range that the NBA wants to keep it at. Try to make sure they would like to keep it at 5%, but overall they are addressing all the health concerns. You know, hopefully all those guys can get healthy before, or some guys are just opting out entirely.
Yeah, well, Kaiz, like we talked about Firefest, do you want to hit some of the living conditions going on in Orlando right now?
I mean, they're not great. It's literally like you're moving into a hotel for a work trip. You get your own room.
But for like 3 months.
Well, yeah, but you know, I guarantee you after this first 2 weeks, it'll get better for him. You know, DeAndre Ayton bought his gaming setup with him, walked out of the bus carrying a monitor, which was
Monitor.
This man
hilarious.
bought a whole PS4 with him, man.
No, he bought a whole PC with him.
Look, if you think that was ridiculous, you remember Damian Lillard has now set up a recording studio in his hotel room. So he's just going to one-up DeAndre Ayton the best he can.
Well, yeah, but that's kind of expected from Dame Dollar, you know?
Fair,
And then-
fair.
The
So-
grind don't stop.
Hotel rooms aside, food aside, we will have a preseason, quote-unquote, where East teams will play the West teams instead of 2 warm-up games. But other than that, there's not much warm-up, as we call it, other than those 8 games, which will or won't affect seeding much unless you're the Nets.
And come on, we talked about it last week on the pod, and I know you guys were listening last week. It will adjust some seating. Well, I think we're all
100%.
very confident of some changes here.
Especially after my boy Torian, hit me up, Waterboy Manager on Twitter.
Still got the plug in.
Yeah, wait, you got to be professional about it. Prayers out to you, man. Hope you recover well.
Yeah,
But hit us up. You got some free time. Join the pod.
On Zoom for now.
yeah. I hope you're doing well though, for real, Torian. You and obviously all the other players. Shaban, or actually Nabeel, since you're here, we might as well utilize you. It feels. Do you want to hit us up with some updates?
Yeah, guys, apparently they're lucky enough to bring me back. Good news.
Actually, that's a big shout out to you,
Yeah.
Instagram. You guys made sure
You guys
he was
voted
back.
him in.
So
I
you
made
wanna
sure
give
I
a-
didn't vote.
You want to give a quick thank you to Instagram,
I appreciate you, Instagram.
and maybe say hello to YouTube since we're there.
What's up, YouTube? Finally got this
Hey,
going.
the Waterboy and the Equipment Managers on YouTube.
And on any of your favorite podcasts.
Yo, Cash Nasty, if you listening, hit us up, all right?
Hey, boy, for real. Yeah. But yeah, hit us up, man. Come
In
on.
better news, well, I guess it's good news for him, not so much good news for the NBA, but Gordon Hayward, he's having a kid. You know, he said in September if the Celtics make it to the playoffs, which
Well, his wife's having a kid.
It's a we thing. It's a collective.
It takes 2
he
to
had
make
to
a
put in
kid.
work to get a kid, bro.
Okay, hey, look, this is not health class. This is a Waterboy Commander podcast. Get back to your shit, man.
So he's going to be having a kid mid-September, and if the Celtics, which we all expect them to, make a run into the playoffs, he's going to have to step away for a little bit, get out of that bubble to see the birth of his child, which congrats to him, man. It's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, the NBA did say that they were going to grant special permissions to leave the bubble, and this is one of those times where they've said they're going to grant him special permission to go, see the birth of his child. And hopefully that goes extremely well and he gets to come back healthy and join the Celtics. Or not. Fuck the Celtics. I don't care. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Celtics.
As a proclaimed Laker podcast,
no, we are not.
We love your listenership, but we still gonna beat you every year, every game.
Look, we both have a lot of work to do in these 8 games and to get to the finals. So Celtics, Lakers, we'll see how that thing goes. Shaban, you and I and the 4 of us really have talked a lot about some of the guys dropping out over the past few days. Give us an update as to who, dude. It feels like everybody's gone at this point.
Yeah, I know. So Thabo Sefolosha is opting out of Orlando. Taurean Prince has tested positive, so he's out of Orlando. Victor Oladipo has decided to sit out the NBA season. But
That's the most shocking one.
Yeah, right.
At least to me, that's shocking.
Well, he's still going to Orlando, but for rehab.
See, that's really weird to me because he's
going.
Yeah, it sounds because why wouldn't you want to minimize risk and just have as less people as possible needed to go?
So
I would.
You know what I think it is with Oladipo? Not sure on his contract situation, but there's going to be whispers out there. I might see him in some purple and gold eventually.
So here's the thing about Victor. Before we keep going, I just thought of it. And let's talk about it. Victor has 1 year left on his deal next season, and he's posturing for a contract extension probably in this offseason in October November range. Is he worth a max?
Not right now.
So without him playing at all in Orlando, and the last time we saw him play, he was okay. Is he worth the max?
So I think this is why he's taking a step back for the rehab, right? Victor Oladipo's already seen the dark side of the NBA, where you're kind of thrown off to the side if you don't perform. So he's taking the rehab, getting his body right, making sure he's good, so he can show teams, hey, I can still ball. Y'all remember me from 2 years ago.
I mean, that's an all-star we're talking about.
Yeah.
That is a legitimate all-star, and maybe his contract's going to be very incentive laden on if he's healthy or not. Maybe give him max and then put some little caveats. But Shaban, let's return back to some of the guys that are not going.
So one of the big guys that we were holding our breath on, Spencer Dinwiddie, is sitting out the NBA season. Landry Shamet, he tested positive. He will not be traveling to Orlando with the Clippers. And after a lot of speculation, Dwight Howard will, in fact, play in the NBA restart.
And he's donating his salary for each game to the black communities.
That's great. I love
big
that.
shout out to Dwight. Patty Mills
So
actually
is Patty
doing,
Mills, I forgot
Patty
about
Mills
that.
doing the same thing. Yeah, exactly.
Big shout out.
Yeah.
You know who's the most non-shocking dropout? Bradley Beal.
Yeah. So it's weird, the reason why, he is citing a right rotator cuff injury, which, ouch.
He did shoot a lot.
He's carrying a lot.
The carrying is probably what 20.
30 points per
But
game.
I feel like carrying would be more of a lower back.
Hey, man, look, 30 points per game means he's chucking efficiently, but I don't blame him for being a little hurt.
Team case. He was carrying the whole goddamn
Let's be real. The Wizards don't need him in Orlando. Their fate is basically sealed at this point.
Well, you never know. That outside shot with the Nets not having anybody. Speaking of the Brooklyn Nets, they've just added Jamal Crawford.
Oh, breaking news?
Yeah, breaking news.
Wow.
Da-da-da. We got some breaking news. We got some breaking news on the podcast.
Damn,
that's pretty cool.
Damn, it just happened, didn't it?
Yeah.
20 minutes ago.
God damn.
Sick. Wow, that's crazy. So, Shaban, I know we talked about some players that are going and not going. What about some coaches? I know they talked, especially Adam Silver did, and kind of put his foot in his mouth, a month and a half ago at this point?
Yeah.
But what's up with some of these older coaches?
So, Alvin Gentry has been cleared to travel with the Pelicans.
Okay, cool.
So that's good.
Yeah, great news. They need him.
Mike D'Antoni is still waiting to hear if he'll be cleared. He's 69 years old. And the Rockets leave on the 9th. We're recording this on the 8th, so we're kind of cutting it close right now. Whether or not Mike D'Antoni is going to join the Rockets in Orlando.
Look, Mike D'Antoni at the age of 69 is in better shape than all 4 of us in this podcast. He will be in Orlando. I would be shocked if he wasn't.
Yeah, facts.
But I don't know, man. Do Russ and Harden even need him? I'm just kidding. We're not. That's for another day. That's for another episode. Nabeel, did you want to update us? There's some Trailblazer news on the horizon.
Yeah, it actually sounds like exciting news. If you're a Trailblazers fan, you should be pretty happy right now. Zach Collins and Yusuf Nurkic, they're both in great shape right now. No minutes restrictions. They seem like they're ready to go. Rodney Hood has been getting back into shape, but he's a no for Orlando right now. But it's great news for Portland right now.
Yeah, Nurkic and Collins were big parts of what would have been a potential playoff run. Having those guys healthy going into this thing, Dame's probably sigh of relief for Dame and McCollum, not Ariza. He won't be there. Yep. Just kidding. But yeah, man, that's kind of the end of if you don't know now you know. I think we're going to get a lot of news between now and the next time we record, because the next time we record, everybody will officially be in Orlando, hopefully safe and sound, hopefully as healthy as can be. And we might get some scrimmages that Kaiz talked about. Now, Kaiz, It's your turn, bro.
All right, so
Here's what that player's anonymous.
player today, Players Anonymous. If y'all have any intro suggestions, hit me up, Waterboy and Equipment Manager on Instagram, Waterboy Manager on Twitter. You know, you got to get that plug in shamelessly. Nicknames for this player who was drafted in the second round, 39th overall in 2012 by the Detroit Pistons. Cash Money, WD-40, Baby Joe Johnson.
Baby Joe Johnson. KCP?
Second round.
Wrong.
Second round.
Did he play for Duke?
No.
Baby Joe Johnson. This is very poor podcasting, by
Yes,
the way. We're just
very bad.
completely
Yeah,
quiet.
y'all
at this
got to
point.
think, bro.
Dude.
All right, he went to Texas A&M, if that helps.
Man, we can't even cheat now. Either.
Yeah, I can't even cheat. Like, we're on video. You see, my hands are
YouTube
here.
catches,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah. No,
YouTube could catch y'all all you want.
damn, bro. Like, who?
Went to
Second
Texas
round
A&M.
pick for the Pistons. You said 2012?
Uh,
Is he still in the league?
He's very well in the league.
It's very
He's
well in the
actually
league?
one of the top 50 players in the league.
Oh my god.
Oh, no.
Wow.
Now I feel like I've let everyone down. We all have
Texas
let
A&M.
everybody down.
The Texas A&M threw me for a loop.
I'm going to give you a hint.
Yeah.
He is 0.1% away from the 40, 50, 90 club.
Oh, it's Chris Middleton.
Yeah.
Oh
Okay,
my
cool.
God.
Chris Middleton. Dang, bro. I keep forgetting, dude.
Bro,
Oh, then they traded him.
Yeah, dude.
wait a minute.
I mean,
wait a
that's
minute.
a long line of Detroit Pistons blunders over the last.
I
People
knew if
actually
I
call this
mentioned the
man-
if I mentioned the Bucks, you would have got it right away. That's why
For
I had
sure.
to leave it.
Oh,
No,
that's
no,
good.
I-
That was a
no,
good
no,
call.
that's good.
That was a good
good.
Players Anonymous. Now, boys, let's take 2 full seconds to pay some bills, and we'll be right back with our large content piece this week. And you on YouTube, just give us 2 seconds of awkward silence. All right, boys, we're back, and today's large content segment is going to be X factors for the playoffs on each this week Eastern Conference team. Now, the way we decide to do X factors is going to be a player or maybe a style that needs to come through in order for a team in the East this week to do well, right? That doesn't necessarily mean the Magic probably aren't going to the NBA Finals, but if the Magic plan to beat the Bucks or the Raptors in round 1 and potentially go into a slightly deeper playoff run, X, Y, and Z person, X person, has to be doing well, or X thing needs to go right for the Magic. And this goes for all of our Eastern Conference teams, but I want to put a caveat in there. We talked about this. It can't be something obvious, right? Don't tell me Giannis has to be good for the Bucks. We know Giannis has to be good for the Bucks. That's not an X factor.
Are you telling me that Giannis is good at basketball?
No,
He's
he's
pretty good at
amazing.
that. He's pretty good at basketball. But yeah, so I hope I defined X factor quite well for the listeners at home and on YouTube. Hello.
Oh my god. stop
I'm
the
gonna
quotes,
keep doing it.
bro.
I'm so
I
excited.
don't like
I'm
it.
so
I
excited.
don't like this at all.
This seems so.
I'm
So-
very opposed to Saif being this giddy.
I'm just so excited. We're on YouTube.
You and me both, buddy.
By the way, for those of you who keep saying are like, oh yeah, we're on YouTube. We are the Waterboy and Equipment Manager on YouTube. If you just
Link-
search us,
The
we'll be there.
Waterboy and Equipment Manager
Link will be in the
podcast.
equipment.
Oh yes, thank you. The
Hey.
Waterboy and Equipment Manager podcast
All right, look,
on
not
YouTube.
a big deal, but it's on my link tree. It's on our link tree.
It's on all of our links.
And
Yeah.
it'll be at the bottom of the podcast.
And it'll also be in our bio as well on Instagram.
100%.
Absolutely.
So come see us on YouTube. But we know a lot of you guys are stuck at home chilling. Come watch us. Anyway, so
It's been really
I'm
a
sorry.
double
I'm
take.
so excited, guys. I really am. All right, boys. Let's get started with our X Factor segment.
The 9 seed Wizards.
Yeah, we're gonna start bottom up because Kaiz, that's a good idea, and we're gonna start with the 9-seeded Wizards of Washington D.C. Shaban, you want to get us started, man?
First of all, a shout out to my little brother. He lives in DC. I'm sorry your team sucks right now.
It's not really a shout out. That's more of a call
Yeah,
out.
that's a call out, bro.
But yeah, so as we mentioned before, Bradley Beal is out of Orlando. So Rui Hachimura time? I mean, I don't.
That's what I put too.
All right,
Yeah.
My X factor was see if Bradley Beal is playing or not. And that was answered very early
Yeah.
yesterday
Yeah.
after I had finished my prep, so I don't know.
So literally, word for word, I wrote this down in my notes. This team is so garbage that no amount of X factors could help this team in any possible way ever
Hey,
this year.
hey, Davis Bertans is
He's
good,
sitting
right?
out.
He's not going.
Never mind. Just kidding.
He felt so good. He's like, yeah, Bertans.
He was the first player to announce he wasn't playing.
Beal's not going because Bertans not going.
Yeah, I think he's gonna
Among
go-
other things. But I'm
do
sure
well
that played a
with
role. But Ryu Hachimura's got a chance here. He's a rookie, right? So I'm not expecting him to be godly or really, really good. But we're going to get to see kind of what he's made of. He's going to be the leader of the team in all likelihood. He's going to be an important player for them to do anything in any game. And you know how they always say good stats, bad team kind of guy? Ryu might have a chance to actually show what he's made of. We can see, hey, is he good at really anything?
He's the Gilbert Arenas of 2020.
Potentially.
Oh,
Oh, man, that's hurtful.
Yeah, that's very hurtful.
And leave Agent Zero out of this, man. But no, Ryu, I think, is our really
Hey, look,
only shout.
he's
here,
very
right?
active on social media. You know, that little call out might hit us up, might have him on.
Potentially. He's coaching basketball now, like high school basketball or something, right? We're
Yeah.
talking about, by the way, we're talking about Agent Zero, Gilbert Arenas for the listeners who are very confused. Look, the whole point is the Wizards, hot garbage. If they made the playoffs, I think all of us here, among you as well listening on, would be absolutely shocked.
Yeah, it's like a race to the bottom with both the Nets and the Wizards.
Yeah,
honestly.
really. Well, let's move on to our actual 8 seed currently sitting in, well, the 8th seed, the Orlando Magic. And this is an interesting one because they're not a bad basketball team. They're actually a pretty good basketball team.
Overall, very solid.
Yeah, they're a solid team. They're very consistently okay.
I'd say at the 1, the 2, the 4, and the 5.
Potentially.
They're just not quite like there yet.
Well, you say they're not quite there. Tell us your X factor, sir.
So for them to even want to be competitive in Orlando, their most steady offensive performer is Evan Fournier, who is probably their leading
Please
scorer
don't
right
look
now.
him up. It's very graphic.
That's concerning.
Kaiz, what did you see?
What?
All right.
No.
All right, we'll do this after the
I
pod.
just looked up his basketball reference.
No,
all right,
I don't
Like-
wanna-
typed
look,
in Evan
that's all I
Fournier
care about.
basketball.
I
I
have-
typed in Fournier. That was it.
Well, see, why'd you do that?
You have to sit with the first name.
Very close to another word, bro.
I was so close to not remembering his first
Oh,
name, so I just typed in his last name. It's
Okay.
very bad.
Shaban, Evan Fournier, man.
Anyway, Evan Fournier has to carry this offense. Markelle Fultz has come a long way since last year with
Since
the
his
Sixers.
50 days,
Yes,
yeah.
but he's still a work in progress. And Terrence Ross is fine, I guess.
He's decent, right? He's
yeah,
decent.
he just takes like these weird mid-range jumpers that just never go in, and I just don't understand like why. He played much better last year. I don't know why the sudden shift between this year and now.
I don't know.
And Aaron Gordon is somehow.
Hey,
used
we
as
said
some-
one pick. You're picking like
Yeah,
four
like
dudes.
come on.
Who's your one pick?
the
I mean,
four of
it'll-
us have to
it'll
go.
be Evan Fournier.
Okay, so
yeah.
stop talking about the whole team. This is
Yeah,
an X
like-
Factor episode. We did the team episode last week, cheater.
Fine.
So I also put Evan Fournier, and here's something I want to talk about. Okay, Evan Fournier. First off, I believe he's in a contract here.
Yeah.
Which
He's
is-
actually got a player option next year worth $17 million.
Interesting. I mean, look, with the way the NBA cap situation could potentially be, he might be picking that up. Otherwise, I'd say he'd probably turn it down and get a little bit more cash. But 17 might be good the way things might pan out this summer, or not summer, this fall. But Evan Fournier is having a career best scoring year at 19 points per game. So big shout outs to him. But last year in the playoffs, he scored 12 points per game after still averaging 18 points last year. So he's not up for game day. And if the Magic have any shot at doing literally anything this year's playoffs, like I agree with you, Shaban, Evan Fournier's got to be the guy. 12 points is not going to happen. We need that 19, 20 point per game scorer who's going to be a thunderbolt on offense. We know Vooch is good. Vucevic is going to be fantastic. Can Evan Fournier pick it up and help him out? Nabeel, do you disagree?
So I think no, I don't disagree at all. Actually, I think the part that really blew my mind.
What? I don't know what that means. Go ahead, Nabeel.
So the part that blew my mind is the 19 points per game, but the 41% from 3 on 6.7 attempts a game. That
He's
is
killing it.
that is
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah, he's
And
killing it.
it's great that he did that in 62 games. Can he do it in Orlando? There's been an extended
Not to
absence.
harp on Evan Fournier too long, since the three all really did. I think Aaron Gordon is the key for the Magic, because I do think Evan Fournier will perform, but Aaron Gordon needs to step up as well.
What does that mean, man? We've been on the Evan Gordon train for so many years. And
Aaron Gordon.
Sorry, Aaron Gordon. Look, they should just, fusion high into one player, and they might actually be pretty good at basketball. Aaron Gordon is such a good player on paper.
He's like
Athletically,
Blake
his build.
Griffin light, bro.
I know, and it's like, will
The
he
life is
benefit?
huge.
It's because Orlando wants to use him as some spot-up shot creator.
Man,
That's not what he is.
You know what?
That's
You
not
know
what
what?
he is.
Let's get Aaron.
He's
Let's
a
start
slasher.
this, man. Hashtag get Aaron Gordon out of Orlando.
I
No
think
offense.
he's out after this year.
No offense, but man, we got to get Aaron Gordon to a team with something better going on. He just doesn't fit there. And look, John Isaac's better at doing what Orlando wants from him anyway at that position.
Yeah, he's younger.
Exactly.
So why not just let John Isaac run the 4, because he's freaking huge. He's like, 6'9", I think, and lanky as hell.
Absolutely.
And let Aaron Gordon get the hell out of there and give him
Don't
somewhere else
forget
to
the
be good
bunnies, bro.
at. the bunnies.
bunnies.
Why Aaron Gordon known for his dunk competition, not for his basketball play?
Because that's where he shines.
That should tell you everything you need to know. Get him out of
He's
Orlando.
got
Free this
bunnies,
man.
bro.
Through 82
Free this
games,
man.
this man does not shine because he's in Orlando.
All right, boys, let's move on to the, for now, 7-seeded Nets. Probably not for
No.
long.
No.
Kaiz, open this one up, man. Open up this ridiculous can of worms.
All right, so my X factor it's going to be Joe Harris.
Really?
Whoa.
Okay. Yeah, all right.
So, look, they don't have KD, Kyrie, Wilson, Chandler, DeAndre Jordan, Spencer Dinwiddie, or Taurean Prince.
That was you named the entire roster.
You had to list the whole roster, bro.
Is this even still a team?
I was like, did you just name basically every player that plays minutes for them? Yes.
Yeah, pretty
Yes,
much.
you did.
Except KD, for now.
Fair.
Yeah.
All right. But we all know that right now the number one is Karis LeVert.
Mhm.
But can Joe Harris step up and provide that solid number 2 role? And I think if he can, that'll have them win a couple games.
I think for me, I have to agree with you, bro. I think, there's not a whole lot going for this team, but Joe Harris is a bright spot. And honestly, if Nets fans are watching these 8 games, if they make it to the playoffs.
But the regular season, right? That's what we're looking
at least the
these 8
regular
games.
season.
Yeah.
Joe
At
Harris is
minimum.
the one guy I think, like, hey, that guy made a 3. Which he's shooting 42% from, by the way.
Yeah, he's killing it. He's killing it. So you guys talked about Joe Harris. Kayz, you said Karis LeVert's basically their number 1 guy. My question is for Karis LeVert. He's my X factor for this Nets team, and I don't know if that means a whole lot, to be quite honest, because we're all pretty down on this Nets team. They're probably going to go like what 0-8, 1-7.
I'll give him 1-7.
Right. But Karis LeVert has to find some sense of offensive consistency. The biggest thing, and knock on him for his career thus far, young one, yes, but I've had 50-point games, I've had 4-point games. Can he find some offensive consistency? Can he prove that he can be a bucket, like an absolute bucket? Because that's what he's going to have to do.
We want him to be J.R. Smith.
I know, I want him to be better than J.R. Smith. No disrespect to J.R., but I want him to be better than J.R. Karis has a chance to be a legitimate offensive player in the NBA going forward for the Nets or for any other team. And I want to see an offensive consistency from him. Look, we all talked about it last week on the episode. We all think he's going to have like a 45, 50-point game.
In a loss.
In all likelihood, right? But then what about the other 7 games they're going to play? Is he going to only score 13 or 12? And then is Joe Harris going to have to be the poor guy who's chucking him because he has to?
Yeah.
And so the Nets, there's really not that much going for them. But I still like the young guys, right? Jared Allen, Karis LeVert, even Joe Harris. For me, it's Karis LeVert. For Kaiz and Nabeel, it's Joe Harris. Shaban, where are you at on this one, man?
So I got Jared Allen because, as it stands, even with Spencer Dinwiddie, even when like Kyrie was playing, Brooklyn wasn't a really good shooting team, but they got a lot of offensive rebounds. They created a lot of second chance
opportunities. You have that big-ass afro in the center
exactly,
of the
right?
You mean DeAndre Jordan?
No, I said the afro.
It's just ridiculous that they have both of them.
Yeah, I know. But Jared Allen's going to have to work overtime, especially since DeAndre Jordan's out.
Yeah.
Agreed, especially down low.
Yeah, down low, he's going to have to dominate.
He's going to. And look, in all honesty, Jared Allen is one of the best defensive centers in the league, defensive players in the league. So it's not all that shocking. I think that's a great pick, Shaban. It is. My only question mark for Jared Allen is he anything on the offense? Is he a plus at all?
I mean, he's pretty solid on the offensive end. He just doesn't get a lot of touches.
Well, he's going to get as many as he wants now.
He is. I mean, he averages like double digits in points and rebounds, which is pretty much. It was pretty much as good as you can get for a center coming off the bench, right?
Yeah. I mean, look, if you had to guess, I know I'm putting you on the spot, and I didn't ask you to prep for this. If Jared Allen is to be the X factor you hope he is, what numbers are you expecting from him with points and rebounds that you would realistically like to see from him from these 8 games?
As a starting center, I would probably be like maybe 15-15 with like 2 blocks a game.
Jesus Christ. If he goes 15 and 15, that would be insane.
I'll take 20 and 12.
20 and 12?
Yeah.
Guys, I was in the realm of like 13 points, 11 rebounds. You guys are really giving him something. Look, maybe I just don't see him the same way you guys do. I like Jared Allen. I didn't know I didn't like him as much as you guys. Now I know. Let's move on to the 6th-seeded 76ers of Philadelphia. Yeah, Kaiz, I mean, go ahead, man.
All right, so the biggest thing for the Philadelphia 76ers is adjusting to not playing in Philly. This year, they're 24-2 at home and 10-24 away.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Which, when you think about it, they've won as many games at home as they've lost on the road.
Explains their problem.
Yeah,
which basically means I don't think they play well away from home. But now, there's no crowd anywhere else anyway.
Well, it's one thing
to Captain Obvious.
It's one thing to not play as well when you're on the road.
It's on.
Jesus Christ. God damn it, man. Why you gotta go there?
It's on. Go.
It's one thing to not play as well when you're on the road, which is normal, by the way. A lot of teams, you just kind of go through a
that's completely understandable, but this bad?
Yeah, they're a completely different team. I actually looked up the stats, like what they give their opponents, like 102 points a game at home, 111 points away.
Jesus,
it's a 9-point swing.
Yeah,
That's just points given.
Yeah.
33% from 3 at home, 37% from 3 on the road.
You're kidding.
That's
so they shoot
ridiculous.
the 3 ball better, but they're like, we're just going to give them the game.
Yeah.
Dude, that's absurd, man. So
For me-
basically, for defensive purposes, Philly at home is basically a stout defense.
It's the crowd.
Who forces, it's the crowd. But it's like they force the opponent to shoot below league average, and then they leave their home. Orlando, for example, let's just conveniently, let's say Orlando, and then they allow above average 3-point shooting for the opposing team.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're kind of fucked if they can't get that shit up.
Yeah, compared
Kaiz,
to
that's a good point, man.
Yeah, compared to teams that that actually defend better, like the Boston Celtics or the Miami Heat or the Milwaukee Bucks. That's not going to cut it for them. They have to come hungry. It's a matter of, for me, it's a matter of if they're hungry.
So it seems like you and Kaiz are on the same page about your X factor. Yeah. It's their ability to play in Orlando.
Yeah.
For me, it's a matter of, and I guess it kind of goes on to whether they can play in Orlando. It's a mentality thing, man. I haven't seen I think everyone that's sitting here agrees that when Joel Embiid was going to come into the season, we were expecting to tear it up because of how hurt he was.
Yeah, from last season.
The way he was, taken out of the playoffs. So for me, it's the mentality of Joel Embiid and honestly Ben Simmons as well. Do they want it? Because they have the team to make a run, but do they have the mentality to say, let's avoid everything else, let's shut it down, and let's make a run?
Just a small caveat. With both of them being hurt when the season suspended, we have no clue where they're at physically.
Yeah, health is a problem. Yeah, it's not a problem, a question mark at best. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it a problem.
Yeah,
but
it's a question mark going into.
So Embiid's or Simmons' lower back problem. I don't know if he's back yet. I don't know if he's 100. He might be 80. But when you go to something as intense as a bubble play-in, you need to be 100.
100%. So for me, you guys talked about their ability to play away from home and maybe their mentality from Nabeel. For me, I'm going to go quite directly to Ben Simmons. Right. The thing with me is Joel Embiid is a fantastic basketball player. He is the best or second best, in my personal opinion, center in the NBA. Right. But that means he's top 2 at least. He, I believe, will produce when it comes time to produce, assuming health, of course. But I think he's going to produce. The question mark then becomes, can Ben Simmons be the Ben Simmons that we have wanted to see basically from day one? That doesn't mean he's going to shoot a lot of threes or any threes at all. I don't really care if he shoots threes right now. I don't expect him to come in and just show us a brand new guy after taking a couple months off.
Honestly, with the way he controls the game, I do genuinely believe he does not need to shoot the ball well.
He just needs to play his game.
Yeah.
That's
well,
all he needs to do.
I don't know if I agree with you there, but at least for Orlando, I don't think he'll be shooting the ball at all, right?
Definitely not.
But can he be the Ben Simmons that can dominate stretches of a basketball game? And that's the big question mark for me. Now, in the playoffs last year, if you guys remember, when it came crunch time, all the shots, even the ball handling, the point guard duties, went to a guy named Jimmy Butler.
Jimmy Buckets.
Well, he's not there anymore, which means the guy that took the ball out of his hands was Ben Simmons. Now he's going to have every chance to have the ball in his hands and dictate the basketball game, which, by the way, I think he's best at anyway. That's his thing.
So, fun fact, if Philly does move up a spot, they do get to play Jimmy Buckets.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah. I bet you Sixers fans are sitting there going, damn, we wish we could have booed the shit out of that man.
Philadelphia fans, they're more than welcome to do so.
They are passionate for sure.
Is passionate the right word?
Yeah, for sure. Oh, dude.
Yeah.
They lost
They're
2 games.
dumb passionate, bro.
They've lost 2 games at home. Clearly, they love their team,
So
and as they should.
I wanted to mention something else that all 3 of us basically talked about mentality. Joel Embiid was recently asked what he felt about the restart in Orlando, and he said, I'm not a big fan of the idea, but then again, I'm going to do my job. I'm not going to let the city down. I don't like the idea. He says it again. But he seems like he has the right mentality, but Joel Embiid always says the right, not always. He says the right thing when it pertains to his play on the court.
Especially recently.
Yes.
He's matured up a lot in the last 18 months or so, for
Hulu
sure.
has live sports.
Also, yes.
So with the Sixers,
You don't have to be.
The Sixers are one of
Hey,
the.
Hulu, hit us up if you want to sponsor us.
We're on YouTube.
Shameless plugs.
Hulu has live sports.
Hey, if you want your first exclusive podcast,
That'd be pretty
We got
cool.
you.
Yeah. That'd be
Ooh,
pretty cool.
yeah, you want your first exclusive podcast on the platform, right?
All right, boys. Let's get back to it. The Sixers are one of the few teams in the East that have a very, very high ceiling, but also a reasonably low floor. I think we all have talked about this in the past, and it wouldn't shock me if Philly did especially well in 8 games and the playoffs, and it wouldn't really shock me if they didn't do so great and then we're a first round exit, especially if they're at 6 and they don't really jostle up or down. They're gonna, like Kay said, meet the Miami Heat in the first round, which is a team that all of us are pretty high on going into the playoffs. So let's move up to the 5-seeded Victor Oladipo-less Indiana Pacers. Nabeel, do you want to start us here?
Yeah, this is another team where I'm with the loss of Oladipo. I mean, yeah, he didn't play that much this season, so realistically, I can't weigh him that much for this season. But there was Malcolm Brogdon news, I believe.
Yeah, he
correct?
said he's ready to play.
He's ready to play, so I mean, having him back is huge.
Yeah.
So Sabonis, Turner, and I mean Brogdon.
Well, they don't play Turner yet, so.
What's up?
They don't really play Turner, so.
I mean, he's gonna have to slide in. There's gonna be a minutes distribution to everyone, but
No doubt.
I believe that that team that they could be a low key team that could make a lot of noise in the tournament this year.
The tournament?
The tournament? It's
I don't
not
feel like-
March Madness,
It just
bro.
feels so weird, man. Calling it just the regular season.
I know it does feel like it feels like a tournament. You're right. What Miles Turner, you talked about him. He's actually my X factor as well. Kaiz, he played 30 minutes per game this season, so that's slightly above probably what you expected to hear. But it is
a lot above.
Yeah, well, it's
Because
also
every time I watched the Pacers game, he didn't play at all.
Well, yeah, because look, for whatever reason, Sabonis and him don't not get along, because they do get along. I'm sure
they don't mesh on the court.
They don't mesh. Yeah, their basketball style just isn't fully right. They like to take the same space, but Miles Turner is a very good basketball player, and he's a very good shooter for his size. Right, from 3-point land this year, he's averaging 34%, which is pretty damn good on 4 attempts a game. So Miles Turner is my X factor. If they stand a chance in being anything going into this thing, I'd like to see Miles Turner step up, shoot the ball well, play great defense, because we know he's capable of very good defense. He's an all-defensive kind of guy. And this year he only gave him 12 points per game. Going into this 8-game stretch in the playoffs, if we can get something like 15, 16 from Miles Turner, and Sabonis being the all-star that he is, Brogdon and Warren, they've got a squad. And I think that they're one of those teams that's so hard-nosed that they really have a chance here to do something special.
Just going to remind you guys that he's still tied for the league lead in blocks.
Yeah, Miles Turner's a beast, man.
Yeah,
on defense
absolutely.
especially on defense.
So here's my problem with the Indiana Pacers. I know we're not talking about them this episode, but I'll just do a quick mention. I know how the Rockets, they play with a lot of high pace and they just let it fly. If I had to pick a team that's the direct opposite of that,
The Lakers?
it's the Indiana Pacers. They shoot really well from 3. They're 12th in 3-point percentage, but they just don't shoot it at all. They're 29th in the league in
attempts.
In attempts.
Yo, that's nuts.
Meanwhile, they're second in the league in 2-point attempts.
Of course they are.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh, wait, who's number 1? Do you know who number 1 is? My guess would be
the
the San Antonio Spurs, if I just had to guess.
It's probably the San Antonio
It's probably the
Spurs.
Spurs, yeah.
Their offense is efficient, but it doesn't even matter because they don't generate enough possessions for it to even count. They don't just let it fly. They have good shooters. Justin Holiday, Aaron Holiday, Malcolm Brogdon's a good shooter. Miles Turner's a good shooter. Domantas Sabonis, he can shoot the ball okay, but they need to just let it fly. I don't know why they're playing with such this sort of conservatism that Nate McMillan has with them.
Man, Indiana is such an interesting team. Kaiz, you're the only one that hasn't fully come into it. Do you want to talk to us about the Pacers a little bit, man?
I want to see Sabonis take over. That's just
Yeah.
straight up. That's all I want to say about it. No Oladipo means their number 2 guy has to be their number 1 guy.
But can we be honest? Is Sabonis really an X factor if he's an all-star for them this year and their best player?
Yeah.
Can we really say he's not an obvious? He's an obvious. They got to be good. He has to be good for them to do well. So give me an X factor on the team.
You're only saying that because Oladipo's not playing and Brogdon's back.
Sure, but Sabonis is their all-star this year. He was absolutely incredible. There's no question in my mind Sabonis should and has to do well for them to do anything in the playoffs in the current standing of the team.
Well, then you guys took mine, so I had to go on a limb. Because
What?
I am the resident Miles Turner fan.
That's fair. So I think for all of us, we agree Miles Turner has to be a legitimately good offensive talent. Defensively, we know he can rock it, but offensively, can he do it? So next up are the Heat of Miami, who probably took a bus up. No, I'm just kidding. They definitely flew.
You know who was on that team?
Yeah, I was like, Pat Riley ain't sitting in no damn bus.
You
You know what? Actually, is Pat Riley going to Miami?
I doubt it.
Right?
I don't
That
know.
man is
honestly.
sitting his
I
man
think
shit
he's
pretty
too
in
old.
Miami, bro.
Yeah.
Bro, I don't know, man. Pat Riley is one of the few GMs in basketball that takes basketball so seriously that I feel like he would want to be there. And Pat Riley, dude.
I mean, I think he'd take his health into more
I was
consideration.
about to say, you know what he takes more
Yeah.
seriously? Coronavirus.
I don't even know.
does
I don't even know
he?
he'd be
I don't know.
cleared, right?
I don't
He
know.
might not be,
Dude,
actually.
Pat
If
Riley's-
D'Antoni's not, Pat Riley's definitely not.
Dude, I don't know.
Jesus.
Man. Yeah. But anyway, so the Miami Heat, the Miami Heat are a basketball team that all of us are actually quite high on for the most part. And I think Kaiz and I are extremely high on them, predicting they might go very, very far in this NBA playoff. But what are their X factors? Miami has, I think, quite a few. They're one of the deepest teams in the East when it comes to a lot of the players they've got.
There's a lot of moving parts here.
Definitely. So, Shaban, how about you start us off, man? Who's your X factor for the Miami Heat?
So it's more like a concept than the actual person.
Mine is also a kind of a concept. Go ahead.
I'm gonna say it's gonna be the veteran leadership of of Jimmy Butler, Dragic, Iguodala, and like Jay Crowder. Who, this playoffs is not gonna be his first rodeo
for sure.
Yeah, it's because a lot of Miami's success is because of those young guys: Kendrick Nunn, Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero. Especially from outside, they have been Miami's preliminary offensive assault, right? So, and also Myers Leonard and Kelly Olynyk, they've been doing well too shooting outside. So, will that lack of playoff experience bite them in the end? That's where the leadership of Jimmy Butler and Goran Dragic come in. They're going to need to step in, and Andre Iguodala, they're going to really need to step in and make sure that this team is on point.
Man, I fear for any man on that team that does not perform at a high level. Jimmy Butler might literally kick your ass.
Absolutely.
I love Jimmy, but man, is he intimidating, bro.
I was about to say, bro, Mike.
Yeah.
Bro, he might be like, you know what? He's going to pull that. You remember that LeBron YouTube video from back? Give me your ring. He might just be like, give me your jersey. Get the fuck off the court.
Supreme Dreams, we love you.
It's just not happening, bro. Not happening. But yeah, no, you're right. The veteran leadership is a big role. Kaiz, do you want to jump onto it?
I mean, mine for the Heat is pretty much the same thing as I said for the Sixers. Not playing at home, even though they're so close, they haven't been that great. 27-5 at home, 14-19 on the road. Oh. So for a team that's so good and that we're so high on, seeing them way sub 500 on the road isn't a great sign.
To me, that kind of matters. They're not as egregious as the Sixers.
Oh, no, definitely not.
It's definitely there. To me, the factor actually is Bam Adebayo. I mean, we look at the East, and they're stacked at the 4.
I call cop out. I call you. Look, I gave him shit. I'm giving you shit. Bam Adebayo is an all-star. He is not an X factor on basketball.
The last time Bam Adebayo played in the playoffs was his rookie year, and he was playing 3 points a game. How all-star Bam Adebayo?
So let me explain myself.
Fine.
I'll explain myself.
Yes, please, Nabeel, explain yourself.
Bam Adebayo, yes, he's an all-star. He's had an amazing season. I'm not too sure about Kaiz and Shaban, but I know Saif and I have been high on him since that man got drafted.
Absolutely, yeah.
Big man.
I didn't talk to you as much, bro. I'm sorry. We're talking about Kaiz, by the way.
Just breaking news: Nabeel might not be on next week's episode.
Might not exist.
There's no might about it.
Sorry, Nabeel. Go ahead. Explain yourself on Bam Adebayo. All-star Bam Adebayo.
My thing is, and Shaban brought up a part of my point, is last time he was in the playoffs, he didn't do that well. And yes, the veteran leadership is there. We saw what the Celtics did with that veteran leadership of Al Horford kind of keeping things in place. Bam Adebayo is a genuine key piece of this team that if he does not play well or he shrinks in the moment, that team could very well collapse. They've got a bunch of good players, but Bam Adebayo is the guy there. I
mean, no doubt. He's definitely their defensive anchor and one of their best distributors on the basketball team. So I understand. 5
assists a game.
Hey, man. For a center.
That's
pretty
big for a center, yeah.
That's great. Pretty big for a big man.
That wasn't meant to be a joke.
He's 6'8", so he's really more undersized, right?
But he's a beast, isn't he?
Yeah, right.
That dude is crazy. Just imagine 2 years from now, Bam Adebayo. If he's this good now, imagine when he's 25.
Definitely.
But anyway, for me, it's going to be the X factor for the Miami Heat is going to be Duncan Robinson.
Yeah.
And the reason why is, as we already know collectively, and we've talked about a million times, the Miami Heat are not the best three-point shooting team in the league, or close, right?
Are they?
They're not. I'm saying they're not a great three-point shooting team, right? Jimmy doesn't shoot him. Bam doesn't shoot him. Kendrick Nunn is okay, I guess. But
Harrow's on and off.
Harrow's on and off. But Duncan Robinson is by far their best three-point shooter on the team. By far.
Do you mind if I counter that point real quick?
Sure.
So the Miami Heat, yes, they don't shoot them as often.
Don't ask if we mind. Just make your point.
All right, bet. So the Miami Heat's roster, yes, they don't shoot them as often. I think Duncan Robinson is the highest in attempts.
Yes, easily.
Right? But outside of that, they've got a lot of guys that actually shoot the three ball pretty well. I think Shaban's got it pulled up right now.
So I pulled it up just now. They are 10th in three-point attempts, and they are first in the league in three-point percentage.
Interesting. Very interesting. That's almost shocking because when you watch, the eye test tells you, because we know Jimmy's not shooting it at a high clip or well, and neither is Bam, and those are the two best players, and yet, I don't know. But anyway, back to my point. I think Duncan Robinson is still their X factor he is going to be the guy that helps them space the floor the most. He still shoots them more than anybody else on the team, and he shoots the best percentage on the team. So if they're going to do a lot in the paint, like Jimmy likes to do, like Bam likes to do, they're going to need guys to space the floor. And that's why they brought in guys like Iguodala and Crowder, who were above average three-point shooters. Crowder. Above average three-point shooters.
He came from Boston. It makes sense.
Yeah, but Duncan Robinson, if this guy can get hot and do some serious damage, Duncan and the three-point shooters on the team, but Duncan is going to be a real big X factor for the Miami Heat.
45% from three.
He's an absolute
a monster.
He's ridiculous. He's ridiculous.
Insanely fun.
Should have won the 3-point contest.
Hey man, that's on him, bro. That's literally the one thing that judges don't play a role in.
Yeah.
Be good because you're good.
Shade at you, D-Wade.
Ouch.
Lots of shade, Dwayne.
Ouch. We love D-Wade on this podcast.
Of course. Except
We
for
do.
the fact that he messed up the dunk contest.
That's
It should
wait,
have been a
wait,
tie.
pause. Let's have a moment because you brought it up. Is that the only reason you don't like D-Wade?
Shaban, don't go, wait, look at me. You and I are in the same boat here. There's
know,
a reason why there's Dallas on my chest right now.
I'm just saying, like, is that the
Hey,
only reason why
He's
you
wearing Miami
Hold on.
red.
Nabeel and Shaban don't like Dwayne Wade because he dicked him real hard in
Whoa,
2006 in the
whoa.
NBA playoffs.
Not gonna say I don't
Dicked them down.
Not going to say I don't like him. I love
Okay.
D-Wade.
Hey, enough of this ridiculous banter. The number 3 seeded Boston Celtics are the next team we're going to talk about on this podcast. Boys, the Boston Celtics, like many other teams we talked about, again, there's so many, like the upper half of the Eastern Conference is such a ridiculously fun, exciting.
Double
There's
stuffed
just so
Oreo.
many,
bro.
there's so many power.
Yeah.
What? Explain yourself.
Double stuffed Oreo. It's stacked.
Oh, I like that. That was good. Wow. Okay, I've never heard that before in that terminology, but I'll take it. So, Nabeel really enjoyed that one. Go ahead, let it out, buddy. But the Boston Celtics are a team that have such a high ceiling. Like, let me tell you something, right? Just straight up. If I told you I've come back from the future and the Boston Celtics are in the NBA Finals, would that really shock you guys?
Absolutely
Yes.
not. Really?
So 3 out of 4 guys on this podcast say that would not be the most shocking thing I've heard. It would shock me if you told me the Indiana Pacers made the finals. No offense, Indiana.
Well, yeah.
Maybe next year, maybe not.
Dude, it shocked
definitely
me
not
if you
this
said
year.
the Nets made the playoffs.
Facts. But anyway, so the Boston Celtics, this was one of the hardest teams to pick an X factor for because, like the Miami Heat, they're a very deep basketball team.
Yeah,
they have like Shaban and Chris Vernon on the Ringer says they don't have a bunch of guys that suck.
Yeah.
There's nobody really on that roster that sucks, that gets playing time. So the Boston Celtics are gonna have a bunch of X factors. So let's get started. Nabil, open this thing up in Boston. Tell us what's going on, man.
Sure.
What's your X factor?
So I completely agree. I think this is a team that's hard to find an X factor, but for me, and you're probably going to hate me for this, is Jason Tatum. Right? 2 years ago, he was key in that.
That's
run.
two cop outs in a row.
All right.
All right, hold on.
You
I'll
said, look,
I'll do two of them.
look,
No,
hold on.
no.
You said Bam because he's not been in the playoffs as a big. Jason Tatum dunked on LeBron a couple years ago.
All right,
Okay,
so I'll
In the
choose other
playoffs.
one
that's
instead.
yeah.
He was a rookie.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here with that Jason
All right.
Tatum.
He's only 21, bro.
He's still so young. Remember, boys, his balls dropped after the All-Star break.
Shut
So
Call
then
back.
my next point would be either between the 5, right? I talked about it in last week's podcast again. Tyson Cantor. Can they be the guys that lock down against these big guys that are in the Eastern Conference? I believe I looked it up in
That's
the first round.
That's a better pick.
They'll play the Sixers, and Joel Embiid's a handful.
Just harping on that. They don't want to play Philly. Philly won
No.
3 of the 4 matchups
Philly's a bad
by an
matchup.
average of 10.5 points.
Facts, yeah.
This man came with the numbers. Respect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Shaban's office
replaced
name,
Shaban
so
for
I'm
a
like,
second.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Ooh. But anyway,
Ooh.
so Daniel
I'm laying
Tice,
off the numbers this time.
and NS Cancer.
They've got to be able to put in the minutes and put in the honest work to be able to stop these guys. And can they be able to
I don't
do
think
it?
they can handle Embiid or Horford. Let's just be honest.
And that's a
Absolutely.
valid concern, right? Is can they do it? And it, realistically looking at it, yeah, Daniel Tyson's looked great this season, good this season, but he's not going to be able to handle Joel Embiid.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, in all honesty, that's a good point. I think it's a very fair point. It's a point that, by the way, has been brought up by basically every human being that's ever criticized Boston this season. Their weakest point has by far been the center position, whether it be offensively and defensively. Like, Kanter is pretty good on offense, but very poor on defense. Below average on defense, not very poor.
Remember,
And vice
Turkey's
versa,
most
right?
wanted.
Yeah, so
in this game.
yeah, I
Yeah,
think
but
that's
it's
a fair
released.
that's a fair concern. So, look, they don't want to match up against some of the bigs in the East, but they're likely going to if they plan to make a deep run in the playoffs. And
Any kind of run, really.
yeah, and if Kaiz brings up a good point, they have not been very good in the regular season against teams like Joel Embiid's team. So Yeah, that is a very fair X factor. And it's
Also,
a better pick than
just-
Jason goddamn Tatum, you cheap ass.
So can I actually divulge on that point very quickly?
No, you can't. Move on, Shaban. What's your thing?
Fine.
God damn. No, look, we're a podcast. We like to talk. Give me your 4 seconds on Jason Tatum.
All right, Jason Tatum last
1, 2, 3,
year.
4. That's it. I'm just kidding. I'm
Wow.
just kidding.
Jason Tatum regressed in the playoffs last year, right? We saw it. He wasn't the
That
same
was
guy.
4. Sorry.
Okay, let the man finish.
You
Come on.
know, as a joke, we tried to blame Kobe on it. Rest in peace, love you. You were not the problem.
Oh, we're not blaming Kobe for
So
shit.
my thing right now is the fact that he shot 43% from the
Cares about the
overall.
hands.
He shot 43% overall and 73% from the free throw line. That is atrocious for a guy that's known to be a shooter. Can we see him step up again in this year's playoffs? And he's definitely made the improvements over the regular season, but will he be able to do it in the playoffs? And that is something that's a genuine question to ask, right? He
Honestly,
kinda
with the curls, never know.
With the
Oh, he's got
Have
this
you seen his
crazy
haircut?
haircut going on, man.
Oh, what?
He's got like
curls
a
and stuff.
mid skin fade with curls up top.
It's very interesting
weird.
take. Yeah, I need.
I'm sorry, I'm
I'm
not
just
this up.
look. Headband Jason Tatum is the one we're looking forward to. Shaban,
Yeah.
open up, Austin, man.
So I definitely agree with the whole narrative of Daniel Tyson, Eric, and his Cantor. They need to put in the work, especially on defense. They allowed 55% of shots to go in within 6 feet of the rim, which is, if you're a center, that's unacceptable,
Absolutely.
right? Like guys like Giannis, Ben Simmons, Bam Adebayo, DeMontis Sabonis, Jimmy Butler, etc. All those guys who make their money like in the at the paint, they're going to abuse them, and it shows. Like in the regular season, in those losses that
Celtics.
Boston, in those losses that Boston has, all they do is attack the paint. Giannis's shot chart, all of it was at the rim.
It's actually all within 6.5 feet.
Right.
Not all that shocking. Not
Yeah.
all that shocking. So look, the center is a good thing, and I'm gonna choose the X factor. And you're gonna say shit. I know you are because I've been throwing a lot of shade at you, Nabeel. But my X factor is All-Star starter Kemba Walker, and here's why.
Well, so
Here's-
just so I back you up,
Yeah,
that's
you're on
actually my concern as well.
Yeah, so Kemba is my concern for a couple different reasons. But the first, last we remember Kemba, he was coming back from a knee injury. And is Kemba ready to play basketball? Also, the reason why Kemba Walker is a fair X factor, not unlike Jason Tatum, is that man has not made the playoffs every single year of his career. Right? This is kind of the first time he has a legitimately good basketball team with a legitimately good chance at making a run in the playoffs. And quite frankly, he hasn't made the playoffs in 4 years. Last time he made it was 15-16. We're in the 19-20 season. So in the playoffs, can this veteran Kemba Walker, who's a damn good basketball player, especially on the offensive side, can he produce even when the young guys are not producing? And I'm going to give you your deep cut of a different X factor since I know you're going to come at me. It's really Marcus Smart, right? Kemba is not a good defensive player. We know this, right? He's not Trae Young, but he's damn close in that sense, right? Of defensive ability.
He's actually only
He's
3 or 4
fine.
spots ahead.
He's just fine, right? So Marcus Smart is going to be the guy that gets to go play defense against some of these larger guards, especially like the Philadelphias of it all. Who's going to guard Ben Simmons? Probably Marcus Smart. Who's going to
Which
guard
is
the guys?
hilarious,
Yeah,
by the way.
who's going to guard some of these other guards in the East? It's going to be Marcus Smart. And if Marcus Smart can be the defensive anchor that we know he is, the all-defensive player, great. Will he be a sub-zero on offense? Hopefully not. He's a decent offensive player, but he's got to shoot the ball better. And so Marcus Smart and Kemba Walker, I know that's a little cheating, but I gave you your shit. You can give me mine if you really have to.
Can I make my point?
I
Yeah.
will not give you shit.
'Cause
I
I'll
think it
take
was
the
a very
shit.
valid point to make. I'm going to concede
I
that.
appreciate that.
That
Thank you.
knee is very important simply because
That-
Kemba
Kemba Walker's
yeah.
signature move is that little, well, not even a step back, it's a jump back, and it's on his plant foot.
Oh yeah. It's a
Well,
little
I mean,
and one move.
it's Kemba Walker's athleticism that makes him so great. Like, it's
Well,
amazing.
yeah,
to
that's
watch
why I
him
call it
play.
a jump back, not a step back.
For sure. So it seems like you're on the same board as Kemba Walker with
Yes,
me?
sir.
Yeah, Kemba Walker is look, we know the guys in Boston. We know, Tatum, for example, or Gordon Hayward, for example, or, Brown. They're all going to be pretty good to very good. Can Kemba step up and become the player that we assumed he would be in Charlotte, and now he's here in Boston with the best team he's probably had in his entire career? Probably is an understatement. Definitely the best team he's ever
Definitely
had
the best team.
his entire career. Can he be the guy that we all wanted him to be in Charlotte?
I don't know, bro.
Now
He
is
played
your
with
chance.
Al Harrington and Bismack Biyombo.
Ugh.
That's a stacked
Damn.
squad.
Oh my god.
Moving on to the
Jason
2
Tatum was a
seed.
downgrade.
Jesus.
All right, so the Raptors.
The Toronto Raptors, the team
Wow.
that has had the most time in
Orlando.
Orlando so far. They've been there for what, almost 3 weeks?
Almost a month, actually.
Yeah, dude. The Raptors have been kind of hanging out there, doing their thing, and quite frankly, one of the things they talked about this week, their coach Nick Nurse, he said it's actually kind of nice being down here because we don't know the city, so we're not tempted to go out. We don't know shit about shit.
Yeah.
So I guess that's a good take and probably a fair one. But the Raptors, another team that is very deep in the Eastern Conference.
Absolutely.
You're seeing a narrative here that a lot of these
Ridiculously deep.
I mean, look, they
By
go
the way.
like 10 guys deep, right? And so a narrative in the Eastern Conference is a lot of these teams are good and they're very deep. So their X factor probably
Can
not.
you
a hard-
not say deep like that? It's
Oh, I
very
see.
suggestive.
I'm sorry.
Kaiz, you looked up Evan Fournier by just
Why?
searching his last name. Everything's suggested to you right now.
Pretty much, yeah. But
Kaiz is clearly.
I'll
on
just
one.
make my point.
Yes, you want to start off since you're in,
Yeah,
in a
so
mood.
I'll just start with Baby Drake. I'm always in the mood, baby,
Alright.
and that mood is on fire.
Yeah. Go
All
ahead.
right, so Baby Drake,
God,
aka
that was
Fred
gross.
Van Vliet. Hey, I'm here for the chuckles. That's all that matters to me.
All right, who's your X factor?
Van Vliet has to repeat last season's playoffs.
Okay, yeah.
100%.
Happy? That's my point. Short, concise. You good?
Yeah, is his wife pregnant with another kid?
Hopefully not.
No, he needs another kid because that's the way he turned up last year.
No, because it'll be his kid's birthday, so he has to shine on his kid's first
Ah,
Facts,
what?
facts.
Look at you. Kay's playing 4D, bro. He's playing 4D chess. The rest of us are not.
birthday. Y'all are
I mean,
playing
look,
checkers.
That's a fair one. Freddie has been very good in the regular season this year, especially. I mean, the guy's taking a crazy good jump.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if he continues that productivity, the Raptors are going to be a pretty damn good basketball team, and they already are.
The thing that impresses me most about Fred Van Vliet is that his assist numbers have gone up like tremendously.
Insane.
100%.
Yeah, he's been like one of the best playmakers on that team.
And, dude, he's, I would say, a pretty undersized guard, and yet his defense is, I would
I
say,
think he's
better than
6
what
foot
he-
flat. Yeah.
Yeah,
he's
right?
he's better defensively than if you just looked at him and go, is this guy good at defense? You'd probably be like, no, he's better than advertised, I guess.
Absolutely.
Freddie's a very good, and look, with him and Kyle Lowry as your two kind of defensive stalwarts in the point guard shooting guard spot, that's a pretty good
It's
good
also a
combination.
very small backcourt.
We're going to talk a little bit about that, aren't we? Shaban, X factors?
So I'm gonna pick a guy who didn't even play in last year's playoffs.
I know.
I love this guy because he just comes with such intensity.
Is he an original gangster?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because his name is OG Anunoby. Man, his play is going to be key, especially since Pascal Siakam has been elevated more to be like the centerpiece of that team now.
Yep.
And OG Anunoby has sort of been sort of taking that second fiddle spot that Pascal Siakam had last year. And he didn't play last year's playoffs.
I mean, I wouldn't say
but-
second fiddle, but he's really good.
Yeah.
Second fiddle is like Kyle
Well,
Lowry.
it's more like Kyle Lowry
You know,
than Van
Fred Van
But
Vliet.
even so, his play is just going to be just as pivotal. He has emerged this season as one of the best two-way talents in the league. He shoots the ball at a ridiculous clip, and he gets back on defense like the same way. Shut up, Kaiz.
I knew.
you
I
haven't
was
been
trying
wa-
to get him
you
to
haven't
stop himself from saying something, and he still said it.
You haven't been watching Raptors games, all right?
Look,
OG Anunoby has been incredible.
Yeah, I looked it up, dude. This kid is shooting 38%
Yes, I know. I
from
watched
three.
almost
38
every game of basketball.
Yeah, 38% from three is damn incredible for OG.
Yeah, and like his defense, his length, the way that he influences that game on the defensive end, I love it. It reminds me a lot of Andre Iguodala. I'm not even gonna cap.
Yeah, I mean that's a pretty good comp. I'd say it's a very fair comp. You're not going he's a god tier talent, but he's actually very good. He's very good. Nabeel, do you want to jump in here and talk about your Raptors X factor?
Yeah, I agree with Kaiz completely. You know, Fred Van Vliet is my X factor.
I'm a
It's
smart
kind of
guy.
weird because when I was looking at the Raptors, usually when we question a team into its second year, especially after they won a ring the way the Raptors did, it's, well, can they do it again? Or can they... And it's weird because after watching them play during the season, it feels as though they're just naturally comfortable with each other and they can play great basketball. My question isn't really a question because we've seen it. Is Fred Van Vliet really the second guy in Toronto with Kyle
Well,
Lowry, where he's
third.
sharing,
sharing
going
those
back
duties.
and forth?
We'll
Right.
call it 2A, 2B.
Yeah.
So exactly 2A, 2B, and can he really carry that load in the playoffs again? You know, he kind of did it last year as well.
He's very good.
Can he do it again? That's really it for me. I can't see why this team can't make a deep run as well. Siakam has been insane this season.
Of course. For me, the X factor is going to be the man who has lost at least 100 fucking pounds since quarantine
Yes.
started.
Oh my god.
Marc Gasol. He has been on and off the court this season with injury, sitting out games for whatever reason. But we're talking about one of the best defensive players in the NBA at one point. Not that long ago, Marc Gasol is very good at basketball. Clearly, good defensively. He can shoot the ball offensively around a lot of different spots in the court. He's an offensive anchor and a defensive anchor. And I think that if he's healthy and ready to play, which, by the way, in those pictures,
He
definitely
looks
look healthy.
great.
Yeah, looks in
my
probably the best
God.
shape he's been in his whole
And the
life.
photo we saw was at a basketball court, so he's definitely ready
Oh,
to
he's
play.
definitely
too.
putting in the work.
No
yeah.
doubt. And so if Marc Gasol is the Marc Gasol that we expected and see from that picture, I think that's going to be a revelation and a half. Remember, Marc Gasol was not available for a lot of this season for the Raptors, and so having him back with Ibaka, obviously, Marc Gasol is going to be a big player and a big factor in, and probably the guy, by the way, if they play a Joel Embiid, Marc Gasol is going to be the guy guarding him. And if you had to pick somebody,
he's been statistically good against Embiid too.
no doubt.
I'm not saying he's a complete lockdown, but he definitely slows him.
I mean, it's hard to lock down the second best center in the league, but you're right. Marc Gasol is probably one of the best guys to try and do that.
It's fun to
He's
watch
a good.
Gasol versus Embiid.
Oh yeah,
You can
Gasol is such a damn good defender. I think he can.
We saw it last year. It was great.
Yeah, dude, Gasol is my X factor for the Raptors. No question about it for me. Van Vliet's a good choice. OG Anunoby also a good choice. But the whole point of that is we all kind of picked 3 different guys out of 4 of us here. That just tells you how deep the Raptors are. They're clearly,
yeah.
I mean, look, I still think out of all the teams in the East, yeah, the narrative is a lot of them are very deep. I think the Raptors are the deepest basketball team in the Eastern Conference, bar none. I mean, they we've talked about. They just don't have guys who suck, and that's great for the Raptors.
Yeah, it's great, man.
Let's move on to the 1-seeded Milwaukee Bucks, Giannis's team, and please tell me you didn't pick Giannis. Nabeel,
I did not pick Giannis. I did not.
we'll talk to
But
you.
I think we all picked kind of the same player.
Yeah, I think all of us agree. What we saw from Eric Bledsoe last season was not okay. You know, sometimes you can dismiss bad playoff performances, but what he did was not okay. And the question is, can he help the duo of Middleton and Antetokounmpo? We know those guys will show up. Those guys will play good basketball. I'm not worried about
Or
that.
at least if they don't show up, Bledsoe doesn't fucking matter.
So
Yes.
the one thing that has me down on Bledsoe is last year during the playoffs, he admitted on national TV that he gets nervous before every game.
Which is not a good thing.
And it doesn't go away until the second half.
Look,
that
I'm
doesn't
not-
bode well.
Look, I'm not sure if that's a bad thing or a normal thing that most guys just don't say out loud. I would venture to say there's a lot of basketball players, even all-star level players, that probably get nervous before a basketball game
But
as
until
well.
the second half.
I mean, look, Eric Bledsoe throughout the year, and by the way, Nabeel, you picked him as an X factor. So did I. I picked Eric Bledsoe as well.
I did as well.
You did as well. So Eric Bledsoe clearly is someone who we all agree is an X factor for this team, which must mean he's good at some points, right? Eric Bledsoe last season, during the season, he shot 48% from the field and 41% from the field during the playoffs. The same goes for 3. 33% from 3 during the regular season, 24% from 3 in the playoffs.
Gee.
You clearly see a large dip to where he goes from a well above average basketball player to a well below average basketball player. He needs to be the defending point guard that he has been for the Milwaukee Bucks, and he needs to get his shooting numbers up. Not even up, just keep them the same, and you'll be just fine. And I think that's going to help, Giannis and Chris Middleton a lot. Eric Bledsoe by far is, I think, the biggest X factor on this basketball team. And I'd be hard-pressed to say anybody else is more of an X factor based on
Close
his...
second to me is Brook Lopez.
Well, yeah, for sure. Talk about Brook, man.
So he is the 5 there. Giannis would be the 4.
Yeah.
Most of the time anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
But what Brook Lopez does so well is space the floor.
Mm-hmm.
He's a legitimate threat from outside.
Yeah.
Which means guys like Embiid, Cantor, Jared Allen, if they play the Nets, they wouldn't be in the paint.
Yeah, right.
And which is why Giannis has had so much success driving down. Because Brook Lopez is out in the fucking corner 3. And guess who else is over there? The other center.
Plays great defense, too.
Yeah, for sure.
Really solid on defense.
Sturdy, man.
Jesus.
Sturdy.
I mean, having a guy that can play that stretch 5.
I
guess.
just looked up...
It is a stretch 5.
Yeah, it's a stretch 5. I mean, what he did, all credit goes to Budenholzer. I don't think people
Coach
look at
Bud,
him.
Coach Bud's been a beast. So with Brook Lopez, that's a good point you bring up, and I wanted to
Also,
go...
he's the one that's tied with Miles Turner for leading the league in blocks.
That's pretty cool.
Right.
But, with Brook Lopez, you bring up a good point, man. I wanted to double-check before I said it, so I went ahead and pulled up these numbers. Last year in the regular season, he shot 36.5%, so I'll round up 37% from 3 on 6 attempts a game. And in the playoffs, he goes out and he shoots, 27%? Sorry, 29% on only 5 attempts. So he's clearly taken a dip when it came to his playoff production last year. And you're right, man. If they want to go far in this playoffs, I'm sure their ambitions are very high. They're the best team in basketball in the regular season, the number 1 seed in the East, the number 1 seed in the NBA.
For now.
For now, at least, what they probably will be, if we're being honest. Home court doesn't even matter to the Lakers or anybody at that point, you know?
There is no home court.
Exactly, right? They're all playing on the same damn court. Oh, 3 different courts, but you get the point. But yeah, Brook Lopez and Eric Bledsoe, I think, are very good choices for this Bucks team, and their success will depend on how good those guys are in the playoffs, because we know Giannis is coming to play.
Another thing I want to kind of, we highlighted in the last podcast as well, was rest could actually play a big factor for the Bucks. I think a lot of people
they're the biggest beneficiaries.
Exactly.
Sure.
A
One
lot
of
of
the
things
biggest.
that people gloss over about the Bucks last season was they kind of went balls to the wall for the whole season and coming into the playoffs. This season, not only did they get the break, but they also did minute restrictions for their players, right?
Yeah.
So that could bode very well for them. And what we're talking about may just be thrown out the window because they're all just going to play well now.
Yeah, I mean,
rested.
look, if you remember, when we left the season off, Giannis had hurt himself.
Yep.
And potentially was looking to miss some time. Giannis, from all accounts, is healthy and ready to play some basketball. So you're right. That time off really did help Giannis.
Just
definitely
a quick
this Bucks
side
team.
note on that. Both Giannis and Middleton have admitted that they haven't played basketball because they don't have access to a hoop.
I don't
Which is
believe
bullshit.
This. I don't believe them. I do
Yeah.
not believe them.
This
I
is a
think they're
direct
just
quote.
I think
Nod my
they're
head.
just gonna psych out their opponents.
Yeah, I don't believe Giannis.
Direct quote.
Giannis and Chris Middleton are both fucking gamers, and I'm sure they found a way.
Especially because there's
Yeah.
videos of Giannis just walking into a Five Guys.
Oh, what?
Oh yeah, there was a video where he walked into Five Guys because his wife didn't want to go in there, so he like walked in there for her. It was pretty funny. He wore her slippers, by the way.
Yeah, it
Does
was
Giannis have to
fucking
like
hilarious.
duck under the door to get into a 5-guy?
Probably.
I'm sorry, did no one hear the fact that he had to wear his wife's slippers into the Five Guys? This
Yeah.
man's feet are like Bigfoot.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't really think of that until you
All
brought
I've
it
seen
up.
are the
Yeah,
TikToks.
there's going to be a shoe size. Yeah, Giannis on TikTok is
He's
Pretty
funny.
funny.
very entertaining.
He's actually pretty good on TikTok.
He's
Yeah.
not bad. Not bad at all.
Yeah, sure.
I think we missed Shaban on the Bucks, so
Yeah, so mine's sort of like a trend that I've seen, dating all the way back to the Eastern Conference Finals against the Raptors. The Bucks have always had a hard time, even this season. They've always had a hard time standing up to teams who can shoot the three well and defend on the perimeter. In the Eastern Conference Finals, in the reverse sweep in games 3 through 6, they allowed the Raptors to shoot 40% from three, and they only shot 31% from three.
40%.
Yes, 40%.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to win a basketball game if you
Not
let
at
your
all.
opponent shoot 40%.
Yeah, specifically, they shot the Raptors shot 61 out of 159 threes.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
That's impressive. So they're still chucking him.
Yeah.
Not chucking him. They're shooting him at a clearly very high clip.
yeah. And this season, like in the very few losses that they have allowed the team to shoot 40% from three and only countered with 31% from three. It's like almost uncanny. And
Bucks, what
yeah.
the fuck? We just got done complimenting you, Coach Bud.
Yeah, and those teams came up against Miami, Boston, the Lakers, the Mavericks, the
Boston.
Sixers, right?
So the good teams in basketball.
yeah, the very
good to know.
very good teams
Good to
in
know.
basketball.
So all I heard was Milwaukee loses to good teams.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying that like Milwaukee needs to be able to match that same production from 3-point land, and in the offseason, they've seemed to do that.
Anyone can bully the small guy.
Yeah, but like in the offseason, they added Wesley Matthews, who's played like his best basketball in years.
Long time.
They elevated Dante DiVincenzo, who has been playing phenomenal.
Love the guy. by
They
the
added
way.
Kyle Korver, who, let's face it, is more like a shooting coach for Giannis, but
But it's worked.
It's
It's
worked
worked.
really well. Giannis and Middleton have both shot much better from three this season. So
And Giannis is shooting more.
Yeah.
Not just better, he's shooting him more.
yeah, exactly. So I don't want this.
Surprise.
We've seen this before from Milwaukee. We've seen them be the best NBA team. We've seen Giannis win MVP. We've seen them have the best defense. We've seen them have the best everything. I don't want this to be this different season, same story from Milwaukee because they've overhauled their supporting cast with shooters and guys who can put it in from outside. And I hope that. Shut up.
You were killing it, and then you said it, bro. I'm sorry. I'm
You know,
sorry.
I was gonna compliment you on like what you just did because that was beautifully done. But
Oh my god.
Listeners, I'm so sorry. We are clearly still
We're children.
I'm sorry.
We're definitely
But
children.
you can
oh
watch
my
that
god.
breakout happen on YouTube.
hey,
What up?
shameless
Wait,
plug
anyway.
part two.
But yeah,
Sorry, you're on a roll.
but yeah,
Putting in from outside. That's what you said last.
But yeah, the Bucks have to stand up and they have to be able to match that production from
Would you
outside.
say they have to stand up straight?
Shut up.
Oh, God. Kaiz, let the man finish.
If
Come on.
one team's
We're
up to
almost
stand up
there.
straight,
They have to.
Hey, quit. Both of you.
They have to match that production when the other team catches fire from outside. Notably, like a team like the Rockets, right? When they come in and they start letting it fly from deep. They have to be able to match that same production.
Yeah, I mean, look, you're absolutely right. You're right. There's going to be a level of deja vu if the Bucks go out and don't make the NBA Finals this year. They have been consistently the best team of basketball all year. We've talked about it quite literally since the beginning of this podcast. 17 episodes ago. The Bucks are the best team in basketball and have been this whole year. And it's not going to be ultra shocking if they don't make the finals. But it will be even more disappointing if they don't make the NBA Finals. They have the MVP or the presumptive MVP, the two-time MVP, potentially the Defensive Player of the Year. They have a good squad and a damn good coach. There's not really any good excuse for them not to make the NBA Finals and do it, at
decisively.
a level. Yeah, well, I wouldn't say decisively because there's so many good Eastern Conference teams, but they have been very good all year. They were on pace to win 70 games. Am I wrong about that?
Yes.
Yeah, they were.
They're a good basketball team. They're not dropping games left and right. And so I expect, like we have talked about on last week's episode, they're probably going to take these 8 games to tune up, get right, get healthy, and get in shape. But once these playoffs come, if this Bucks team does not show up and do the thing that we expect them to do, I think a lot of us are going to be very disappointed and ask, what can we do differently?
Yeah.
There's not they made changes on the
Honestly,
fringes like you talked about.
If there's deja vu, Giannis is out.
I don't know about all that, but
Think Miami's good? Think he's going to Miami?
Well, I was kind of, purple and gold, the whole Lakers thing.
Hey, man, I'm sorry. That
Look,
European connection will always.
Look,
be
we're
here.
still We're still 2 years away from this Giannis thing. Let's worry about that on another episode. Before we go,
Giannis, Dallas loves you.
every team loves you. Get the fuck out of here.
LA's better than Dallas, though.
I mean, you can't even.
Well,
argue.
that's just like a common sense.
Well, I mean,
statement.
that's
Well, yeah,
just-
exactly.
That's just a statement of fact. That's
All right,
not
boys.
really-
Before we get out of here, I had a question I was interested in. I forgot to ask you guys last week, and just give me a reason. Don't just say yes. I know because I know Kaiz is going to be like disgusted that I even asked the question. But is Vince Carter a first ballot Hall of Famer?
All right, fuck it, I'm done.
No, seriously.
All right, I will actually say.
Is he a first ballot Hall of Famer?
Yes.
And then why? Tell me why.
To me, yes. Right.
Absolutely.
Today's generation does not know what Vinsanity was. I mean, I know he just got done
We
playing
barely
basketball.
know what Vinsanity
No,
was.
we know what Vinsanity was. We got to watch that man in his prime. At least as Dallas fans, we saw Vinsanity for a moment at its peak. I can't see any logical argument that would say that Vince Carter is not a first ballot Hall of Famer. The dude brought excitement to basketball. He was athletic as God knows what from UNC, which yes, I'll admit I didn't get to see that. All the way into the NBA, the dude has been an outrageous basketball player.
Yeah.
All I'm going to say is the man had the most flawless transition from bright future rookie, star, superstar, and on his way down, his game transition. He went from super athletic, I'm going to go ram it in your mouth, dunking. I know you heard that. To a spot-up shooter and a very good defensive guy, and towards the end of his career, he was a mentor.
Absolutely.
Facts.
That's a beautiful career for Vince Carter.
Yeah, I mean, no
It's
question.
the literal perfect career arc for
Well-
any NBA player.
Well, the reason why I asked is because a certain somebody from some news station or sports news station that I will not name said that he will not likely be a first ballot Hall of Famer. All I'm saying is, look at me.
Name the name.
Hey, ready? Look right at the camera, and for the listeners, we're looking at the camera. You'll see us on YouTube. Fox Sports, call us. We'll cover it better.
We clearly
For
have
real,
better
like-
sports takes than you do.
All right,
Jesus
boys.
Christ.
That's going to wrap up week podcast number 17. We'll see
It
you on
wasn't
YouTube.
a weak podcast. It was
Hey.
a great podcast.
No, the weekly podcast that we do. Anyway,
Thanks for having me on, guys. Again, I appreciate the votes.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll come on next week, but
we'll
who
see.
knows?
We'll
We'll
see.
put
You
it-
got to talk to
Yeah.
Kaiz.
No.
But anyway, before we go, do you want to plug that Instagram real quick?
It's at Waterboy and Equipment Manager.
And do you want to plug that Twitter real quick?
It's Waterboy Manager.
And what do they have to search on YouTube to find us?
The Waterboy and Equipment Manager podcast.
Or look at our link tree on either of our.
And
all of our
Instagram
social
bio.
All right, boys. That concludes week 17, episode 17. Sorry, Kaiz, because he gets really hard about that. We'll see you next week, everybody, with hopefully
That was
great,
such
great
a
news.
weird fucking way to post.
See ya!
Peace.
Bye.
Deuces.